where we talk hot topics, trending topics, what's going on around the world, and what's trending. So, like the video as you guys come in, subscribe to the page as you come in, and support the channel with super chats or nice comments. So, we're going to get into Erica Kirk is trending by her own accord. Many people are wondering what's going on with and JD Vance. As we know, it's unfortunate. Charlie Kirk has passed away. We understand that he unfortunately has been taken out, and that's many things in regards to that whole situation has been questionable. And we're going to get into what she said that it basically says right here. Erica Kirk says JD Vance her of her husband when she introduces him to the Turning Point event. Girl, how can another man remind you of your husband? We get that she's mourning. Everybody take it with a grain of salt. Everybody mourns in a different kind of way. But let me go ahead and get to my disclaimer as people are coming in. So all comments are alleged. And let's go ahead and do the copyright disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teaching, scholarships, and research. Fair use is used permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. All comments are alleged and our opinion and for entertainment purposes only. Thanks for being here, everyone. I appreciate everyone for being here. Like and subscribe. And we're going to get straight to the Erica Kirk situation because it is. It's a whole situation. And then we're going to get into videos in regards to Snap as well. That's a huge thing for people that are definitely in need. Yeah. Please like the video. Just give me a second. Okay. So now we're all set. Now we're all set. So let's get into what Erica Kirk had to say. Let's get into that first.
And Vice President JD Vance, I do. And that's why I'm so blessed to be able to introduce him tonight. He's an amazing man. No one will ever replace my husband. No.
Happy
Saturday. But I
Saturday.
do see some similarities of my husband in JD and Vice President JD Vance. I do. And that's why I'm so blessed to be able to introduce him tonight. He's an amazing man. No one will ever replace my husband. No. But I do see some similarities of my husband in JD and Vice President JD Vance. I do. And that's why I'm so blessed to be able to introduce him tonight. He's an amazing man. No one will ever replace my husband. No. But I do see some similarities of my husband in JD and Vice President.
So that's the biggest thing. If JD Vance is really cool with Charlie Kirk, how would he feel about his hands being on her hip? How would he feel about her hands being in his hair? Many people are questioning, is JD Vance marriage okay? Is his marriage? How would you feel? Come on, a lot of us are in relationships. If a spouse or a wife passed, how would you feel about somebody holding them a certain way? Should it be like a church hug where your butt is kind of sticking out and you're kind of separated from? Is it me or is it that she continues to be questioned in regards to how she's reacting? I'm sorry. If an RIP to Charlie, like I said, his team should have did more protective measures. I don't know what happened. My software. His team should have did more protective measures in protecting him. If he was getting unwelcoming comments, I have to be careful on YouTube. If he was getting unwelcoming comments, there's no way you're gonna be able to get at me like that. He should have had protective glass around him, near him, by him. And remember, I told y'all that school had where he could have been in the building above. So why didn't his team have more protective measures? Two, why didn't they have an ambulance on campus? How is it that your team is transporting you in their vehicle and no ambulance? So RIP to that whole situation. And then you got to go listen to Candace this week. She talked about the messages Charlie sent her. So concerning. He was concerned about finishing out what he started. Yeah, but if you got to remember though, if there's a situation where there's that, you got to protect yourself if you want to be here for your kids. Okay, you guys, I'm getting a lot of unwelcoming comments. I'm not going to be out in the open where y'all can get at me. I think our culture thinks different and certain cultures think different, and that's okay. But you're not going to be able to get at me. Whatever, whatever. He should have been more protected. In his messages, the way he talked with Candace, and then even with Candace, why didn't Candace say, let's look at more protective measures to keep you here? Yes, freedom of speech. I can think what I want. You don't like it? Go on your page and talk about this ish. How he wasn't protected, how he was put in the van, and then alleged his team said they passed the ambulance. His team said it. And then his team was the ones that removed the camera, messing up the scene. There's a lot of stuff that's not making no sense. There's a lot of stuff. And most of the students that's there is basically under a gag order. They can't speak, they can't talk. Why is it that Candace Owens is pushing more of a narrative than she is? Well, yeah, let's see the video of what, you know what I'm saying? But I get that she may not want to see everything because it might not be, a good reminder or whatever. I can't confirm or deny if she was there or not there. We're getting different information about whether she was there because some are saying they thought she was there. Then some are saying she wasn't there. She was dealing with a family issue. So we can't confirm or deny. But a lot of cultures would say if my husband is being and getting unwelcoming comments, y'all not going to be able to get at us. We're going to have protective measures. We're going to speak at events where you have to go through a detector and it's going to detect if you got something on you. I get that his forum was to speak out in the open to the students. But if there wasn't enough police, there wasn't any detectors that can detect what you had in your book bag. There's no way. There's no way. Sorry. It's sad that he has passed. Nobody wants to lose a husband. Nobody wants to lose a spouse. And I will tell people too, when they're showing that video, they need to look at that video from both sides. Everybody's focusing on that one side in regards to the guy being on the phone. Y'all need to go look at the video on the other side and slow it down. They were saying that a man had something in his hands and then he was backing up in a weird way. And they were saying that it looked like a camera slash something else. I saw a video about 2 weeks ago and I was like, dang, in his hand. So there's a lot of different stuff that's questionable. The guy running, jumping over the table, and it looked like the guy was giving the guy keys for the vehicle. So they, and then there was, but you got to remember, there wasn't just cameras behind him. I think there was a camera off to his right or his left, which is sad. But yeah, Candace hasn't stopped. She is trying to figure out what happened to her friend. As his team is like, business as normal. Let's continue with the podcast. Let's be in a let's it's constant. People are constantly saying the video she did when she was younger, her having ties to um the pageants, questioning her parents, questioning the video she did. So there's a lot of stuff. And remember how let's take this back. Remember how they were saying how she was hugging him, um, the orange guy, and now she's hugging. And we get that she's in mourning, so she needs that male support. But people are like, look at her pants. She's looking jazzy. He holding her hip. She got her hand through his hair. Man, they will not give her a break. And remember how they were saying in regards to the service, how they didn't see a lot of tears. I saw a little wetness on her face, but people were like, most women couldn't even speak if their spouse had been gone. But there's that. Well wishes to Erica. Not here to shame or embarrass, but many people are questioning her constantly. Everything she do, it gets questioned. Everything. Remember how? Go back. Um, I'm cooking right here. I'm not looking at y'all comments because people are probably trying to sway me on what I'm feeling. It's my opinion. R.I.P. to and I couldn't imagine his friends and family because think about it. This is how he was taken and gone. This is something that a lot of those students visually saw. A lot of those students probably definitely need a lot of counseling as well to be there and experience that. A lot of them are probably will never be the same. You know what I mean? And then for her to get the call that he's no longer here, she'll never be the same. And her life will never be the same because her husband's no longer here. But um, what else was I gonna say? Yeah, um, it's not easy losing someone you're trying to grow. You know, they had children. It's not easy losing someone you were with and spending time with every day. So it's not easy. But here nor there, people are questioning constant. Yeah, people are constantly saying fake tears, but a lot of us wouldn't even be able to speak. Yeah, I saw some wetness. I did. I saw a little wetness on, and then they were talking about her rings, but I think the rings are like initials of her children. But then when she threw up that signal, they were saying that's supposed to mean love. But here nor there, I'm gonna play this again for you to hear it.
And that's why I'm so blessed to be able to introduce him tonight. He's an amazing man. No one will ever replace my husband. No. But I do see some similarities of my husband in JD and Vice President JD Vance. I do. And that's why I'm so blessed to be able to introduce him tonight. He's an amazing man. No one will ever replace my husband. No. But I do see some similarities of my husband in JD and Vice President JD Vance. I do. And that's why I'm so blessed to be able to introduce him tonight. He's an amazing man. No one will ever replace my husband.
So
No one will ever replace my husband.
that's
No.
that's the Erica thing. It is what it is. People feel how they feel. People are giving their opinion, and JD Vance actually been called out too, and he's been speaking of how he wants his wife to do X, Y, Z, and many people are talking about how his wife looks so different. So we're gonna move on. I guess this is JD Vance because, of course, he's trending in certain ways, and this is him doing the wig. Because I guess there's this other picture. They'll show the other picture. There's that, and then there's a picture of him. Well, sometimes that's what trends, but here nor there. JD Vance has been trending. Was there something else? Yeah, people. I'm telling you, it's not just me. People been talking about it. JD Vance, Erica Kirk, warm hug at the Turning Point event. It goes viral. It's not just me. Everybody talking about Erica and JD. And some people may not know. Some people may know. He's married. As a wife, how would you feel about some woman putting their hand through your hair and, I could see on the back. Nope. I wish a woman would try and grab on my spouse like that, or boyfriend, or boomabe. Okay, so fans are saying Northwest looks so cute in her hairstyle. She does. I told y'all, and I was calling Kim out. Stop putting her in unflattering situations. Cut it out. Those Kardashians are so. It's something going on with them. They're pushing the narrative and beauty standards. They have the narrative in regards to their Hollywood adult stuff. Now they're trying to push this narrative in regards to the children that's growing up in their care. So I'm happy Kim gets it. Kim has put her in male outfits constantly, whether it's Kanye or looking like another male outside of Halloween. Now she puts her in stuff in regards to looking very grown. So what's up with that? Those Kardashians are something else. Anything to trend and go viral. They're utilizing North to trend and go viral and keep their names in media. Stop utilizing the kids. Let them grow up. They don't need to trend every month like y'all try and trend every month or every week. Let those kids grow up. She looks gorgeous. So to have Kanye as a father and to have Kim as a mother, those children are going to have a very interesting life. Well off, very financially savvy, but there's going to be there. So North looks beautiful. Um, it's interesting how Kim puts her in media and how Kim portrays her. I've talked about this before. Kim didn't need to show that she was eating an onion on television. Kim didn't need to show that North was trying to grab Chloe's drink, whether it was champagne or whether it was wine or whatever it was. Kim didn't need to show her slapping her friend in the face. Kim doesn't need to show and putting her in unflattering or too grown situations. Cut it out. Cut it out. And then Kim tries to say it's not that serious. It's very serious. She's a young child and there needs to be boundaries. And everyone sees that the Kardashians are questionable in regards to certain situations. It is what it is. Okay, so Wendy dresses as a gorilla. This is funny. There's a lot of costumes going on. So let's go ahead to the Trump news in regards to the shutdown. I appreciate everyone for being here. I hope you guys have hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. If you don't see the like on the screen you're on, hit the back button and you'll see the like button there. So some people may be not seeing the like button in the screen they're on. They may have to hit the back button and the like button will be there, or double tap the screen. Some will have buttons up on the right hand side and the like button is there, or some will double tap the screen and then the like button will come up. It just depends. So yeah, let's get the likes up. But let's go ahead and get to the
Now,
news.
Michael Schnell, MSNBC congressional reporter, and Michelle Norris, MSNBC senior contributing editor. Michelle,
Thanks for getting the likes up. Let's get to the news, you guys.
start with you because we have these two judges that say get this money out, right? What we know about this contingency is that there isn't enough money to give everyone who is supposed to get it all of their benefits. So there will be people in this country that wake up this morning expecting, because this is how people plan for their lives, expecting to have money to be able to pay for food for their children, for themselves, and we're at the end of the month where they already are stretching every dollar that they have. Talk about the kind of yo-yo effect, the uncertainty that those folks are living in and what that does to them.
Okay, so yesterday was Halloween. So families that rely on SNAP had to already dig a little bit deeper to buy that Halloween costume, to buy the candy. And now at the first of the month, that's normally when you do your biggest shopping if you're on SNAP, right? Because that's, you try to load up because if things get tight later in the month, you try to make sure that you have a few extra cans of this or that. Even if the states come through, because you've got this interesting juxtaposition that a number of states are actually figuring out how to tap into emergency contingency funding there, right? And even if they come through and they provide some sort of contingency funding, there is a lingering effect here. And as you noted, this affects Republicans and Democrats. Hunger knows no boundaries. And people will remember, if you've ever experienced food insecurity, even when you satiate the hunger, the insecurity, the panic that you felt, not being able to know where your next meal is coming from, not being able to know if you're going to be able to feed your children, that is something that lingers. And when you've got this perfect storm of food insecurity, healthcare costs rising, and then heads start being snatched from people who rely on that, this is a problem that the Republicans are going to have to deal with. And I think that that's why you're starting to see the break in the ranks and these, calls that have now been, we've learned about this. They're getting that messages, and they're not here in Washington. They're back at home, so they're seeing this firsthand. And this is going to be something that will affect the Republican Party. And the Democrats will see some blowback from this also. But because you also have this juxtaposition of Trump saying that he can't figure out, whether we should follow the judge's ruling or not, and at the same time talking about his big marble bathroom.
Right.
So we've got this 18-carat confusion, that's going on where he can't figure out how to fund this, but at the same time, he's talking about building a ballroom, he's renovating his bathroom. And so it just, the confusion around this doesn't make sense.
Michael, renovating a bathroom.
The panic of food insecurity that Michelle was just talking about. I'm going to play some sound of SNAP recipients in Florida and New York and what they have to say about what they're going to be going through. Watch this.
It's so easy to tell on
Like the video, fair use, ration clip. Like the videos, you guys come in. Thanks for being here.
No, I see dollar signs. Just this month, I've made a couple $100 on Poshmark just selling.
What they're going to be going through. Watch this.
I'm only down to 1 pack of chicken, and I don't even know what I'm going to do for the next month. My son won't have his milk, and we won't have food. I'll go without eating it or anything as long as my kids eat.
When you talk about your grandson, you got a little bit emotional.
That's my boy. That's my boy. And he's a kid. He doesn't deserve it. He shouldn't have to wake up and my daughter tell him he can't eat.
I mean, I'm glad we were able to play that sound so that we take it out of the theoretical and put it into the voices of people who are living with this. My question to you is, my wonder is, do stories like that sound like that actually have any kind of impact on Capitol Hill?
I think in a way, yes, and in a way, no. So for the first part, this week was really the first time we actually saw the impasse start to break. It didn't fully break. It maybe didn't even crack, but it sort of started to move in that direction. It was the first time in the 5 weeks of this government shutdown that we have seen a possibility of the light at the end of the tunnel. I think it's because a lot of lawmakers were nervous about this November 1st deadline. We always knew it would be open enrollment, and that really wasn't perturbing Republicans. But when you brought in the issue of SNAP, this is where it really got real for a lot of people. 42 million people on SNAP, districts across the country. That's why lawmakers were sort of saying, well, we're kind of optimistic this week. We feel like we're maybe getting there. But they didn't get there, and that's the point. And senators left town before we got this ruling from the courts that said, well, you actually have to put out the SNAP benefits. So it nudged things in the right direction, but it didn't get folks there. And that's been the fascinating part. We've spoken about it. That's been the fascinating part about this government shutdown is the pain points that you would expect to immediately get a resolution. 42 million people losing their SNAP benefits would be within that camp. It just hasn't pushed the two parties into compromise because this impasse is so entrenched.
Jonathan, your question actually reminds me of this line from Josh Howell's op-ed in the New York Times this week, surprisingly advocating for SNAP to reauthorize it at least temporarily.
Huge SNAP recipient.
And Tira, one suspects that if senators couldn't buy groceries, the government would never close down again. But Michael, can you also just set the stage for us on the status of negotiations with regards to the broader shutdown? You were on the Hill this week, had a lot of great reporting. Are conversations actually starting to happen?
I mean, they're happening, and they've been happening since the beginning of the shutdown at this rank and file level. We've seen different bipartisan Democrats and Republicans have these conversations, but they haven't bore any fruit yet, and that's the big issue. And so, again, we saw this optimism from lawmakers this week, and I've been talking to them every single day. I heard this cheerfulness from any of them in a very long time, especially during the shutdown. So there's this thought that maybe because there are these increased conversations, we're getting somewhere. But again, to the point I was making before, we haven't gotten there yet. So Lisa Murkowski, for example, she said people can be talking, but those conversations actually need to lead to something in order to get a resolution and get out of this. For this entire shutdown, both sides have been talking past one another. Democrats say we're not opening the government unless you extend the subsidies. Republicans are saying we're not extending the subsidies unless you open the government. I mean, just completely talking past each other, ignoring one another's opinions because they both think that they're right. So yes, we saw increased conversations, discussions, and optimism this week, but whether it actually leads to a resolution, that's still the million-dollar question. And to the point you guys were making before, the fact that they weren't able to get there with SNAP benefits being dried up in just a matter of days, not a great sign, but I think we're in a better place than we were maybe 3 weeks ago.
Oh, great. Those were the bad
Not saying much.
Yeah. But, one of the things that's so interesting is, them all having conversations, the rank and file, no shade to them, but, it doesn't matter what they think, right? At the end of the day, leadership needs to be having conversations. There doesn't appear to be a lot of conversations, and most importantly, the president needs to be involved, especially this president, Michelle, because, in other negotiations, whether shutdown or debt limit funding negotiations, the president, whoever it is very involved, especially as it drags on. President Trump's been a week in Asia. Met with Xi, great in China, great. He should be doing that. But I remember when President Biden canceled a trip to Australia to do debt ceiling negotiations, and he left town yesterday, went to Mar-a-Lago to hang out with, throw some big fancy party for Halloween. He's supposed to be the deal maker, right? He wrote the book, or somebody wrote the book with his face on it called The Art of the Deal, and that's what he has prided himself on. And yet, he's about to have possibly the top. Right now, he has 2 of the longest shutdowns in history with no negotiations. And so he doesn't seem to be as interested as he should be in that.
Well, it shows the dysfunction of the White House, and again, how this is not functioning as a White House we would normally see. Normally, the White House has the Legislative Affairs Office, which basically functions as its lobbyist. And you may have seen a little bit of it yesterday where Trump kind of backtracked on, his social post number 1 and social post number 2. The language in social post number 2 looked like someone had actually whispered in his ear and suggested this is not looking good for you. But normally you would have people in that office and chief of staff and others who are basically working the Hill and trying to bring people together. You're not seeing this in the White House. In this White House, he doesn't take counsel from other people. He's not interested in this. And so I think it's really going to depend on folks on the Hill maybe getting a sign from him, but not direction from him specifically, because even though he talks about the art of the deal, the way that he's negotiated on Wall Street or in New York as a developer, it's very different in Washington. He functions as a king because he can't lead as a president. And those are two very different things. I mean, the president has to, it's about not necessarily coercion, it's about cooperation, it's about comedy, it's about trying to bring people together to actually negotiate. Negotiation in Washington is something very different than the sort of strong arm tactics that he's used as a developer.
Yeah, it is a seemingly one-way conversation from one end of Pennsylvania to the other, unlike the usual business, the way business is conducted. But Trump is this morning waking up to a headline on the New York Times homepage that I don't think he's going to be happy about, which is everything Gene, you just pointed out, which is the shutdown pain grows, Trump attends to other matters. I mean, Michael, what are you hearing about the conversations between Trump and Senator Thune and Speaker Mike Johnson? Do you think are we going to see a meeting next week? Is Trump going to finally open up the line to Democrats?
He's suggested, some folks have suggested that he maybe be open to it. I know that there are certainly lawmakers on both sides of the aisle who want that to happen. Republicans have always called President Trump their closer. It was particularly a line we heard often during the big, beautiful bill negotiations that President Trump would come in at the last minute, strong arm some members into place, and then the bill would pass. We're hearing the same thing, but interestingly enough, from both sides of the aisle this time, Democrats and Republicans saying nothing is going to happen until the president gets involved. Particularly Democrats are saying that President Trump needs to give his members the okay so then they can wrap this thing up. Up until this point, to your question, Jackie, all been on the same page. Speaker Johnson and Leader Thune like to say all the time that they've spoken to the president. They're in lockstep and that there's unity in the Republican Party. But interestingly enough, Democrats have kind of been a little effusive of President Trump throughout the past few weeks. It seems like trying to...
Let's get the likes up. If you're new, press 3 and where you're watching from. If you've been here before, press 5. Press 3 if you're new, where you're watching from. 5, you've been here before and where you're watching from. Please hit the like button. If you're watching from a tablet or a phone, all you have to do is double tap the screen. You'll see the thumbs up. You may have to scroll back one to hit the thumbs up. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being here. Let's continue. Fair use. Let's get the likes up, you guys. We can continue. The likes have to go up. That's the algorithm. The algorithm. The likes should match the views. And to hit the like button is free, free, free. Let's get the likes up. Thank you.
Goad him to the negotiating table. We hear from Leader Schumer all the time. Well, President Trump is a negotiator. He's a deal maker. Let him strike a deal this time. I think that in a lot of people's back of their heads, it's that 2018 Oval Office meeting when President Trump said that he would take responsibility for the shutdown if it happens. I think that's the reason why, particularly Leader Schumer had really pushed for that initial Oval Office meeting a few weeks ago before the shutdown had happened. So certainly Democrats are pushing for one. Will it happen? Do John Thune and Speaker Johnson think that would be the best thing when they've sort of have this strategy going? Maybe not, but the president's back from Asia, and there are certainly a lot of lawmakers who want to get involved. And not to mention, one more thing, right when he got home from Asia, he entered the conversation with that filibuster call. So it may be an indication that he wants to get involved, or is at least paying attention now that he's back.
Or at least wants Republicans to do what he says.
Right. Yes, and once he jumps in, they will do what he says, because he functions as a king, because he can't lead as president. I love him.
Like the video, like the video. Fair use. Like the video as you guys come in. Thanks for being here.
There, as a consequence of what this administration is doing, and what will happen to folks at midnight tonight? Yeah, well, first of all, thank you for having me to talk about such an important thing. I mean, the impact that Head Start has had on millions of Americans over the last 60 years is so powerful, as you noted. And I think it's important to acknowledge it's easy to sit here and say we need to put the blame on the president, on Republicans, on Democrats, on this, that, or the other. The reality is kids and families are being hurt. We need to cut away all of this conversation about blaming this, blaming that, and find a way to move forward. I mean, we're hearing what the mayor was saying about the impact of not having SNAP benefits on children and families in Atlanta. We've heard about it around the country. If the government shutdown does not end by Monday morning, we're going to be having up to 65,000 children and families who are at 160 Head Start programs. There's 1,600 Head Start programs around the country. So for those parents and staff that are tuning in, check in with your local Head Start providers to see what the status is. But we need to make sure that those programs can continue to operate. And that's something Congress and the president need to come together to figure out a solution for.
It is just, it is galling. Jill, excuse me, I don't know if I'm choked up or just choking over here. Maybe all of the above. Jill, we have this latest news from the president now saying he would be happy to fund SNAP benefits now, just like he's done for the military, if they get the legal guidance. And I'm struck by, because I was searching, I didn't see where they got legal guidance for funding the military, yet they made sure military families have not gone without. The impact of the reality of the situation is at midnight tonight, there will not be additional funds loaded onto people's EBT cards. Let's just say a judge comes back tomorrow. It is going to take a couple days before those funds can make it onto the cards. it is whatever the state governments have done, the local leaders have done, those funds will be there, but what the federal government is able to do, that money will not be present. What does that mean for folks in New Mexico and all across your state?
This is honestly the most horrifying roller coaster ride, and it is just incredibly inhumane to have people wondering from one moment to the next whether or not the money is going to be there, whether or not they'll be able to go to the grocery store tomorrow. Folks who are struggling to make ends meet, who are stretching every single dollar, make plans so far in advance to try to figure out where they can be resourced, to make sure that their elders are taken care of, that disabled family member they're caring for have they need, and most of all, our children, our enlisted service members. It is so critical that tomorrow people know where they're getting food. And we see that fear that this is provoking every single day. We see lines of cars, people that have young children in them, people who work, people who earn a living and pay taxes and care for their elders. And as a community, we are rising to give them an option and give them some idea, some light, some hope about where they're coming. And I just wish everyone could participate in that and see that and take the power that they have in this moment to make things better for their neighbor. We're packing pinto beans in this warehouse tomorrow. We're going to do the best we can to stand on that line. We're making boxes of food to hand out next week. That's what you see behind me here today. And that's what food bankers are doing to hold the line. And I invite everyone else to prioritize the fact that food deserves to be on the table of every single person in this country.
And it is a reminder, Tommy, of why we need a social safety net, and of why, even though there are good neighbors, like the folks in New Mexico who are stepping up to meet the need, they simply cannot do it at the scale of the federal government. You know, I live in a community, it is a mixed income community. About 1 in 5 of the people who live in my community live below the poverty line. And today, as I was getting my kids ready for Halloween, I was emptying their backpacks and I found this letter from the superintendent of the school, which basically says to parents and guardians in English and in Spanish, like, listen, we know you guys are really worried about SNAP. And we want you to understand that we, the school district, are here for you. There's a number of resources they list, but they say, if your family's food insecure, reach out to your child's school counselor, reach out to their principal. That is beautiful, and it should not be the role of educators.
Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for being here, everyone. There's about 205 in the building. Please hit the subscribe button. If all 205 hit the subscribe button, that'll be an amazing day for me. Also, let's get the likes up, everyone. Continue to hit the like button. Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip.
To have to worry first and foremost about whether or not their kids are being fed, right? They should be focused on the education of their child. They cannot do that. They cannot provide for their classrooms, Tommy, if their kids are coming to school hungry. What is happening with Head Start, what is happening with SNAP, they are not separate issues. They are joint issues that are on a collision course.
Yeah, and they also are issues that add to each other, right? I mean, Head Start oftentimes is the place where many children rely on for a nutritious meal. It's where they get access to health screenings, where they get access to dental screenings, where if they have special needs, they're able to be connected to services. And that impact is going to be felt very deeply if the shutdown continues. I think it's also important to acknowledge the parents, the families. I mean, they're working multiple jobs.
And if you're not happy, you can go onto your own page and spend your time talking. I'm far from boring. I'm very, very bright and intelligent. You trying to be rude? Be kind in the comments. How rude of you. Happy Saturday.
Trying to make
go
ends
hug
meet.
yourself.
They are going to schools, to trade schools, to technical colleges, all of these things. And what are they going to do?
My millions of views per month isn't saying it's boring, but thanks for the disrespect. And it doesn't bother me when people try to be rude. It doesn't work. Go hug yourself.
If they can't rely on Head Start, it's really scary, and we really need the Congress and the administration to come together and figure out a pathway forward that's suitable for all Americans.
Joe, how do states adapt at this time? I mean, the stresses and strains on state budgets, given all the other things that they are now having to be concerned about, given what has already happened to the federal government and
Good morning.
That states have come to rely on or need to do their business. How does that play out right now when it comes to something like this? Because there's a stressing point for a lot of states at this point, and the food banks can only go but so far. Incredible and important work, but we all know these programs exist because at a certain point there's a diminishing return in terms of how you can turn around to meet the need.
Absolutely. That's such an incredible point. And I'm so proud to be a New Mexican and to be in a state where our executive branch and our legislative branch are operating in lockstep with community-based organizations to solve these really complex problems. On Wednesday, our state government stepped forward and said that they would create a bridge program to make sure that SNAP benefits were covered for 10 days, starting November 1, and that there was more to come if that was the case. And they said we had saved for a rainy day, and it's pouring, and we are going to step in and make sure that New Mexicans don't go hungry. I think that there's so many progressive, insightful, holistic policies that New Mexico has really put on the table over the last several years to diminish the amount of food insecurity in our communities that other states could be looking to as an example. But every state is in a different situation financially, and it's crushing to know that while we may have a little breathing room, other states do not, and there is nothing that separates us. We're all human beings. All of our children deserve to get fed. All of our people deserve to not worry about where their next meal is coming from.
Did y'all see how he put it on the child's head and was like, scoot along, scoot along. When it falls, you can go pick it up over there. Scoot along, scoot along. He a trip.
So I think New Mexico can lead and is leading in that place, but there's so much work to be done by so many states. And the bottom line is that this program, the SNAP program, is a social contract. It's a federal program, and we had plans.
And then in 2019, he put it on the child's head first, and then Melania followed, and then it fell off the child's head. And they were like, "Scoot along, you can pick it up over there." And he did it. He did it in 2019 and 25. He a trip.
And it's been funded. It's never been interrupted before in our history, and this is not a trading card. People's lives, their health, their ability to feed themselves is not something to be bartered with.
Good morning, good morning. Welcome, welcome. There's about 251 in the building. Please hit the subscribe button, you guys. If I get 205 people to subscribe, that'll be an amazing day for me. We're trying to hit 50K by next month.
It is also the night before a halt in federal funding for SNAP, food stamps, the nation's largest anti-hunger program. This week, several states sued the Agriculture Department to keep that money flowing. And earlier today, a federal judge in Rhode Island ordered the administration to continue paying for SNAP out of a contingency fund, while a Massachusetts court gave the government until Monday to indicate whether they would provide full or partial benefits.
Good morning,
Tonight,
good
President
morning.
Trump responded on his social media platform, saying that he would be honored to fund food stamps if the court gives him clarification on how to legally do so. He also acknowledged that assistance may still be delayed. But that's not the only critical program hanging in the balance right now. Tomorrow, funding ends for Head Start locations serving 65,000 children nationwide. We will get into the devastating
Did y'all know that? Like the video, like the video.
Consequences of all of that in just a minute. But first,
let me rewind
as the
that.
pain caused by the only critical program hanging in the balance right now. Tomorrow, funding ends for Head Start locations serving 65,000 children nationwide. We will get into the devastating consequences of all of that in just a minute. But first, as the pain caused by the shutdown reaches what Senator Josh...
So as people are saying, work for your food, it's now affecting children. Be kind in the comments. Be kind in the comments.
Hawley called a point of absurdity. The Senate has left Washington without any clear path forward. And tomorrow, millions will face sticker shock when open enrollment for the Affordable Care Act begins. Remember, at the very heart of this entire shutdown fight is a dispute over expiring premium subsidies. Democrats won't agree to a spending deal unless Republicans agree to an extension. That's why Democrats are withholding their votes to reopen the government. With all of that laid out, let's bring in our lead-off excellent panel, Michael Schnell, MSNBC congressional reporter, Philip Bump, former Washington Post columnist and my former colleague, and Evan McMorris Santoro, reporter for Notice. Michael, I want to start with you right there. ACA open enrollment begins tomorrow, and we have seen some eye-popping estimates for how much insurance rates will go up when those tax credits lapse. But that was hypothetical, at least for a while, and now it's becoming very real. How much do you think that sticker shock will change the dynamics for lawmakers and their constituents?
Democrats, Catherine, are certainly hoping that will be the game changer. Republicans are sort of brushing off the concerns. Look, it's hard to understate how significant tomorrow is. It's November 1st. It's the day we've been talking about throughout this entire shutdown. As you mentioned, open enrollment for Obamacare enrollees begins tomorrow. Because those premium tax credits have not yet been extended, folks are going to see much higher premiums. Those subsidies not in place right now for the next year, so they're going to see higher prices. Now, what Democrats fear is that some of those Obamacare recipients will elect to not get health care because the money is too high. And now that was always what we were talking about when it came to November 1st. But now the second thing that we have added to that is the USDA has said that SNAP benefits will not be able to go out tomorrow. Now, I understand this is wrapped up in the...
Do some people realize people still work and still get stamps? Do people realize that? Some people are out of touch. Some people work and they still get stamps. Some people don't work and they get stamps. Are people out of touch and they don't know that? And the new plan is people have to work a certain amount of hours to get stamps now. That was several months ago that they passed that.
And there was that ruling in Rhode Island, but still, the Trump
administration... And they're going to give, when things reopen, they're going to give people like 3 months to get that situated. So some people are out of touch and they don't know. They think people that get stamps don't work. Some people work and they get stamps. Some parents work and they still get stamps. Hello?
Administration has said it plans to ask the judge for legal avenues to dispatch that.
Oh, there's about 220 in the building. Let's get the likes up and subscribe to the page. Like the video. Let's get the likes up, you guys. 20 likes? You've got to be kidding me. It's free to hit the like button. I'm giving y'all this TTT. I'd like to be somewhere this morning, and I'm going to be there, but I'm going to be late. But like the video. Let's get the likes up. You're here to grab this tea? You're here to grab this tea? Let's get the likes up. Double tap the screen. If you're watching from a phone, YouTube makes it easy. All you do is double tap the screen, you hit the thumbs up, or you hit the thumbs up above the video, below the video. Yes, there we go. Yes, there we go. Like the video. It's free. It's free. Super chats are welcome. The super chat button is right by the comment button. So people just gonna chat, but not hit super chat. Super chats are welcome. $2, $5. Help me get breakfast this morning. I already got the money, but if someone wants to get me breakfast, that'd be great. Let's continue.
Money. So it's not completely a done deal yet. They don't exactly know how they're going to go about that. So tomorrow is still going to be a flashpoint in this shutdown. Now, whether it moves the needle is, of course, the million-dollar question. Again, Democrats.
First off, this person here, be respectful. Be respectful. It's okay. Other pages ask for super chats. It don't matter what color I am. Other pages can ask for super chats. And that's why he's timed out. Go to your own page and hug yourself. Don't be disrespectful in my comments. People are rude Saturday morning sometimes. What the heck?
Are really hoping that Republicans are going to hear from their constituents about Obamacare starting tomorrow, and that'll bring them to the negotiating table to talk about those subsidies. But Republicans have been very clear and very adamant that they're not going to negotiate Obamacare until the lights turn on back in Washington. That's why we're in this impasse. That's why we are about to be in day 32 of this government shutdown.
So, Evan, as you just heard Michael talk about, Republicans seem to be hoping that this sticker shock does not take hold, that Democrats don't have the upper hand. In fact, this is how Dr. Mehmet Oz, who runs the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, CMS, framed the costs earlier this week. Take a listen.
The average American is going to pay about, who's on the ACA, between 100 and 400% of poverty level, is going to pay $50 total.
Yeah, Alan's gone. Be kind in people's comments. Why would people be go be rude to your girlfriend? Go be rude to your sister. Men that are rude to women are probably not loved a lot. They have issues upside, inside their head. Go be rude to your sisters and your mama, not me.
Next year, it's going to be $13 more than this year. So there can be a lot of hair pulling and scratching and flinging, but the fundamental reality for most Americans is that although it is an increase in spend, that's not the big issue. The big issue is the fundamental flaws within the ACA as they were created 15 years ago.
Evan, so tell us the facts here. Are those numbers actually the numbers that the typical American will face? And if not, how is this kind of wishing away of the additional premium hikes likely to resonate with the public?
Like the video, like the video. How is he able to still comment? Like the video, like the video. Like the video. Doesn't matter what culture or race I am. Why are you hearing somebody's comments being rude? That dude need a hug.
Those numbers are not correct. We've seen reports of huge increases in costs for many consumers that get their healthcare through the ACA if these subsidies expire without being extended. The challenge here is that this has been the Republicans' problem with the politics of this all along. Which is that from the very beginning of the shutdown, the plan was Democrats are never going to be able to eat this pain of what a shutdown is like, of how hard this is, and what happens when the government shuts down. But then, as every little step of the way goes along, it is the Republicans in the White House who start to really panic about it, right? The Democrats have stayed fairly consistently together on this, and their whole thing has been, you have this big healthcare subsidy problem coming your way. You have to figure out some way to solve it. We have an idea, have a negotiation with us, say the Democrats. And the Republicans have said, no, you're going to break down and you're going to back away from this when you see how hard this shutdown is. That hasn't happened. And so you have these mixed messages where you have, you mentioned at the beginning of this, this segment, Trump saying, okay, we're going to solve this SNAP problem. Okay, we're going to figure this out. I guess we're going to figure this out some way or another. And then you got Mehmet Oz saying, this whole subsidy thing isn't that big a deal to begin with. It's a mixed message. And it's been a really big problem for the GOP since this whole thing has begun.
Philip, in some ways, this feels a little bit like Groundhog Day. I feel like every couple of years we have this renewed fight over some aspect of Obamacare, including some aspect that maybe Americans don't even realize is there and don't realize how much they like until it's at risk of being taken away. And Republicans are on the other side of it and struggling to come up with their own alternative for the ACA or something to hold on to the populace. How do you think this is playing out for Democrats this time? Is it likely to be a winning issue for them going into next year?
So you're right. I mean, when Donald Trump was first president back in 2017, there was a real focus on repealing the ACA, repealing Obamacare. We saw the numbers for it really start to surge, and it's held fairly constant since. Obamacare is a relatively popular program, especially in the context of federal programs, which aren't always terribly popular. We also see polling suggesting that the public sides with Democrats on this particular fight. The Democrats, their position of let's keep these costs down and keep the shutdown going until that is resolved, that is actually relatively popular with people as well. I think what's fascinating about this moment, Evan was just speaking about the challenges the Republicans are having. One of the central challenges that Donald Trump himself has no message on this, right? In part because he doesn't really care that much. He's much more interested in his renovations, so he's doing it for the White House and so on and so forth. In part because he's always had the same message, which is, oh, we're going to place with something great, and it's been 10 years, and like we're all cognizant of the fact he has nothing great in his pocket.
It's still 2 weeks away.
Yeah, of course. But I think there's something fascinating about this particular moment. It is that, we used to talk about, or I used to use the analogy that I stole from the great writer Julian Sanchez, when we were talking about the imposition of tariffs, that we had run off the cliff, we're like Wile E. Coyote, we'd run off the cliff, and we weren't yet aware that we were not standing on solid ground, and the question was how far we're going to drop. This is happening much faster, right? The shutdown is a month old, and this is a moment in which we're running off the cliff, and all of a sudden gravity is going to start tugging on us as of midnight, right? And we are going to find out what that drop looks like, and that's going to be a pain point for the president yet. And I really think it's worth highlighting the fact that Donald Trump is here saying, hey, man, I don't know, the courts are saying I can't do it. Are you joking? Like, this is a guy who's blowing up random people in the middle of the Caribbean, right? Like, this is obviously something he doesn't want to do. He thinks that people who are going to suffer are not going to be the people who are his base, which he's wrong about based on the numbers. And I think we're going to find out very quickly, once this pain starts to affect people, that he does not have a tenable position in that regard.
Poshmark is the perfect side hustle. I started before getting my job and having kids, and there's so much I can sell. Whether it's my closet, my kids' closet.
Like the video. Fair use reaction clip.
With something that matters, whether Donald Trump wants to know about it or not, food assistance in the United States is now about to expire tonight because of a government shutdown. And while this is not the first time we've heard parties blame each other for the shutdown, and this has happened before. Donald Trump is not uniquely unprecedented in presiding over one. It is a fact that the Republicans control the White House and Congress. It's also a fact that Donald Trump promised, above all else last year when he was campaigning, to improve people's daily lives, prices, groceries, food, basic stuff. And maybe he was effective on the messaging, but it is now also a fact that he is failing on delivering the results. And what does failure look like? Remember, there are still rules in this country. There's still some emergency mechanisms. When we say there's a government shutdown, it affects a lot of people, but it doesn't mean the federal government stops doing anything. And the courts are still open, of course, which brings us to the news late tonight. A federal judge in Rhode Island ordering President Trump to go forward and release the funds which are available for food assistance next month. So a November's worth of funding for what they call SNAP. Because the judge says that's necessary and available, the funds exist, and Trump, for some reason, didn't see people going hungry as an emergency enough reason to free up those funds. Now, here's exactly what the judge said in the ruling. There's no doubt that the $6 billion in contingency funds are appropriated funds that are, without a doubt, necessary to carry out the program's operation. Again, as I mentioned, some things get paused in a shutdown, but here the money's available, and hungry children are not the first thing that, under law, the Congress wanted to be sacrificed, even when there is a shutdown of part of the government. Another judge in Boston found the administration's suspension of those benefits is probably unlawful. They said likely unlawful. They are still weighing a final ruling over there. Now, this matters to 40 million Americans. Food pantries are seeing huge demand. We are here on a holiday evening. Republicans control the Congress and the White House. And there are many ways to respond to this. For example, you could say, this is bad, but we need to reopen the government. Or, this is regrettable. Let's all come back to Washington and try to fix it. But that's not exactly the main response we're hearing. Again, we just do the news. We'll just tell you what they're saying, right? A House Republican said that people on food assistance who haven't pre-saved groceries are basically smoking crack, and they should stop.
Vance. When you step forward, when governments step back, over 300 million people in the world are in desperate humanitarian need.
Like the video.
And they should stop. J.D. Vance had this to say. We're going to find out the hard way with SNAP benefits. The American people are already suffering, and the suffering is going to get a lot worse. Suffering is going to get worse, he says. 24 million Americans are also looking at what could be higher healthcare prices because Obamacare's marketplace reopens tomorrow. Premiums could more than double going through next year. That's on average. And the reason is government policy. Republicans won, and they are exercising their power
to cut the funds that subsidize that. So that's the direct result. Now, when you ask the public, how's this going right now? People do not like the shutdown, and nobody likes higher healthcare prices. You don't really need a poll for that. But the most recent polling shows more people are blaming Trump and the Republicans for this shutdown right now as opposed to the Democrats. And I can tell you again, calling it straight, we've seen a lot of shutdowns where there is blame to go around. But this time, you do have one-party control of Congress and the White House. Democrats' condition, the main thing they wanted was to keep those healthcare costs low, which also is pretty popular. Nationwide, we're seeing the reaction.
We're about to lose our food stamps. Mind you, we both work.
My son won't have his milk, and we won't have food.
I did everything right. Everything right. I was in the Army.
I'll go without eating or anything as long as my kids eat.
Over 4 million people are going to lose their health care through the marketplace.
There's 4 of y'all. It's not feasible. We don't know when this is going to last.
Some of the real people affected, the real voices out in real America tonight. It is a holiday. We're going into the weekend, but a lot of people are not able to enjoy it carefree because of the failure of this president and this Congress to keep the government open. I want to bring in Juanita Tolliver, Democratic strategist, author, host of the Archival podcast. Welcome, Juanita. Happy Halloween. You see there a kind of Republican anger or even threat. It's going to get worse is sort of their messaging. And I understand that in shutdowns, the blame can go around. I mean,
like the video, like the video.
Trump era, this actually isn't. We've seen this before. But there doesn't seem to be any great empathy or concern about fixing it against that polling. How does this all play out in your view?
Ari, I appreciate you defining what J.D. Vance said as a potential threat, because based on the reporting, it's been clear that this contingency fund was earmarked by the USDA before the shutdown began as a resource to continue to provide SNAP benefits during the shutdown. That $6 billion was there. I appreciate the judge in Rhode Island saying the Trump administration made an erroneous decision to not use those funds to continue to supply SNAP. And calling that out emphasizes that this crisis is effectively manufactured by Trump and Republicans' decisions to not proactively engage and use those emergency resources that were already earmarked by the USDA. I think emphasizing that for the people, especially the people that you just highlighted, emphasizing the very real impact this means for them missing meals, for their children not to have the milk that they need. It highlights the human face and impact of the 42 million people that will stand to be hurt at a moment when the losses feel compounded, Ari, because people are already struggling to pay for their groceries each month. People are already turning to credit cards more. I think back in March, it was announced that even collaborations like buy now, pay later between Klarna and DoorDash were introduced because access to food has long been an issue for people to be able to pay from their accounts regularly. And so this response to SNAP with J.D. Vance saying it will get worse, that pain I don't think can be understated at all, because it's not something that food banks can just backfill. They cannot meet the response of the need that's going to be presented when these benefits might not be there on cards that people are typically expecting every single month at the beginning of the month.
Yeah, and that makes sense. We're headed into November. We've got, of course, Thanksgiving, the largest travel day of the year next month. But air travel has been taking a hit under the same shutdown effects. Airports have grounded flights, shutdowns, air traffic control safety issues, staffing shortages. Workers want a deal to reopen the government, and they want to be fairly paid.
Air traffic controllers worked over 120 hours now with no pay.
I'm a real person, and this is very, very, very difficult. You know, it's effective today. Every air traffic controller across the country wakes up to a paycheck that says $0.00.
Our elected officials need to come together. They need to find a way to reopen this government, and it needs to be done today. We don't need to wait to see how long our air traffic controllers can last without money.
Like the video, like the video. That's crazy that these workers aren't getting paid too. There's so much going on. Like the video, like the video. Fair use reaction clip.
Juanita, you know, I don't want to be unfair and I don't want to hate, certainly not on a holiday. I don't want to hate on this or that airline. But the reason that we've always had the federal government involved in airline safety is everyone feels a little better in the air having our taxpayer-supported experts, supposed to be nonpartisan government officials, doing safety rather than some company that might cut a corner. That's why we have federal air traffic. And yet here we are, I don't want to say cutting corners, but certainly putting the pressure on those people to work for nothing and keep us safe while we have our fingers crossed. Is this any way to run the government?
Absolutely not, Ari. And what I recall from the 2018 government shutdown under Donald Trump is that it was air traffic controllers and airline employees banding together to demand their pay that stopped that shutdown. And so I'm into what it's going going to look like in airports. And I'm not even sure if it'll have to wait until Thanksgiving, another 25, 26 days from now, for them to start to take that action. There have been more reports of increased call-outs. There have been more reports of people not coming on shifts. And they have good reason to not show up when they're not getting paid. And so I know that Donald Trump had spent the first part of this year really working to denigrate the faceless individuals who run operations within the government, including these air traffic controllers. And I'm glad that they're speaking out, making it clear that they're real people, making it clear that they too have bills to pay, that their services will not be rendered indefinitely for free. And so I'm looking to see how they organize like they did in 2018.
And, you know, people talk a lot of trash about the government or the DMV or this or that. I don't know many people who say, you know what, we don't need anybody doing airplane safety. We don't need anybody checking on it. Let's just fly blind, you know, literally. I want to show you something, Juanita, about where the buck stops. Because I've mentioned there's a debate here in the shutdown, and that happens. But whether you put it all on the opposition party or the majority party or the White House, here's what Donald Trump said the shutdowns always boil down to back before he was in office. Take a look.
If there is a shutdown, I think it would be a tremendously negative mark on the President of the United States. He's the one that has to get people together. I would get everybody together and we'd have...
I played this video a few days ago. This is what he said years ago.
Majority party or the White House. Here's what Donald Trump said the shutdowns always boil down to back before he was in office. Take a look.
If there is a shutdown, I think it would be a tremendously negative mark on the President of the United States. He's the one that has to get people together. I would get everybody together and we'd have a budget. And
they've all gotten together.
Well, that's because they don't have the right leader. They don't have the right leader. This is the President of the United States has to get this done.
Like the video, fair use reaction clip. Like the video as you guys come in. There's about 100 in the building. Please hit subscribe button. Please hit the subscribe button. I hope everyone's being kind. Like the video as you guys come in.
So we have some pretty big news here as the bottom seems to have fallen out with Donald Trump and Latinos, who were, of course, instrumental in his rise to power in this 2024 election cycle. So I'm going to put right here on the screen Donald Trump's approval rating among Hispanics from the AP. You can see that he's got 73% disapprove and 27% approval. That's an 8-point gain in disapproval and a 6-point drop in approval. So some pretty staggering numbers there. First and foremost, what do you attribute this massive shift to?
Well, that's exactly right. Let me just kind of put it into context. This is very different from the last time we spoke, which was in the summer, where he was sitting at about a 33-34% approval rating. We're now down into the 20s. This is getting back into a historical trend line for Republicans before Trump came on the scene. So this is very significant. It may sound a little bit nerdy, but from a technical perspective, Trump is actually falling through his base level fall of support downward and considerably. So it's a big deal. The question then becomes your next question, which is what's driving it? Donald Trump's collapse amongst Latinos began in April, early April, when he had this Liberation Day announcement on tariffs. The economy is overwhelmingly driving this down. There's no question the ICE rates are having a secondary impact and effect on this. That's absolutely true. But his drop in support levels, considerable drop, began 6 weeks before the ICE raids in Los Angeles. It's important for listeners to understand because overwhelmingly and increasingly, the Latino voter is saying that it's affordability and the economy that is driving their voting behavior, not primarily the ICE rates, not immigration. They're both working together to drive the support levels lower. Its ICE rates are clearly having an impact, but they're not the main driver. They're not the main impact of what's happening here. It's the...
Like the video, fair use reaction clip. Like the video as you guys come in. Let's continue. Fair use. Let's continue.
Shutdown. So let's read a couple of these things for some of the folks. Folks, if you're watching PVD podcasts, I don't know how much of you're relying on Snap. So maybe you don't know about it. So
one of my favorite podcasts, PVD. Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip.
Let's educate you a little bit. The federally funded supplement nutritional system program called SNAP has been increasingly searched topic of discussion as the government shutdown threatens to halt benefits for more than 42 million Americans who rely on it. If the shutdown, which is nearly 1 month mark, continues into November, SNAP benefits could cease as early as November 1st. What is SNAP? The program sometimes referred to as food stamps, issues electronic benefits to millions of eligible low-income individuals and families. Those benefits can be used to purchase food. Who is eligible for SNAP? U.S. citizens must apply for SNAP in the state they currently live in and must meet requirements such as resource and income limits. This is ABC News' article, by the way. How do SNAP work? Benefits from financial assistance. What can SNAP buy and where can SNAP be used? Eligible households can use their benefits on fruit and vegetables, meat and poultry and fish, dairy products, breads and cereal and other products such as snack food, non-alcoholic beverages, and seed and plants that produce food for the household. And how Trump's mega bill changed SNAP. Remember, this is ABC. Earlier this year, President Trump signed his tax and spending mega bill until July 4th. into law on July 4th, changes were made to SNAP eligibility factors, including work requirements and non-citizen eligibility. Work requirements. Those working are paying for you not to work, maybe for 90 days for you to recover from it, but not permanently rely on it, right? And non-citizen eligibility, the mega bill also slashed SNAP funding by an estimated $186 billion over 10 years. The mega bill further shuttered the SNAP Ed, a federally funded grant program that helps people make the SNAP dollar stretch, teaches them how to cook healthy meals. Really? Okay, ABC. Teaching them how to cook healthy meals. Perfect. If SNAP is teaching people how to cook healthy meals, tell me why these numbers that Adam Carolla is sharing, how healthy is it? For you to be 65-pound heavier. Go ahead, Rob.
SNAP's going to run out, in 40 million people.
Voice is the best.
40 million. 40 million. Okay, listen to me, everybody. This whole thing of like 40 million people are going to go hungry. First off, those 40 million people average an extra 40 pounds on them over the average working American. If you took the average person that's on SNAP getting free food and the average person that gets no free food from the government, the average female who gets no free food from the government is 146 pounds. The average SNAP recipient is 211 pounds. So is it a food? I know. First off, we talk about going hungry. Nobody could benefit from a nice fast more than the SNAP recipients.
This guy is trying to say people that are on SNAP are heavier. People that work are, and you got to remember, some people that work still have SNAP. What is this guy talking about? But I'm going to play it though. Like the video, like the video. There's about 98 in the building. Even if all 98 hit subscribe, that'll be an amazing day. Hit subscribe, please hit subscribe. Let's get the likes up, you guys. The likes should match your views. Double tap the screen to get the likes up.
Hey, that's not noble, Tom. By the way, he says 40 pounds. But what did he say the numbers were, Rob? The average person that takes SNAP is 211 pounds. Jeez. And those who take no SNAP are 146 pounds. So we're starving the people that are not eating, and we're feeding the people that are eating too much. Is that kind of what that means, Tom? Tell me about the math, because I'm, just a regular guy. You're trying to figure this thing out. What's going on here, Tom?
Well, I think Adam Carolla is making a point that it's not helping people. I think he's tongue-in-cheek making a point about, hey, it's not really helping the poor people that need it. People that are on it are just kind of, doing nothing and just kind of gorging and becoming very, very large. We have to remember a couple things. I'm not going to repeat any part of the story, Pat. I'm going to run into something here. The Dems want SNAP to become part of UBI. It's a backdoor for UBI. They want to open more and more and more government programs.
Good morning, good morning. Press 3 if you knew where you're watching from. Press 3 if you knew where you're watching from. Press 5 if you're there before where you're watching from. Continue to get the likes up. If you don't know where the like button is, double tap the screen. It'll be the thumbs up. Or there's 3 buttons on the side, depending on where you're watching from. Or hit the back button and you'll see the thumbs up. People's tablets or phones, whatever you're using. But if you're watching from a phone, you should be able to double tap the screen and see the like button. Let's get the likes up.
Toward universal basic income.
Thank you.
To be more people. And they want people. And by the way, we haven't even got to the part where it's not 40 million Americans. It's 40 million people in America. There are people on this, a huge percent of the people that are not citizens that are taking advantage of it. And there's frauds. I read last week, I was reading about SNAP, and I read SNAP fraud stings. Do you know in Hawaii they ran apparently, I was trying to find this again, but the commentary I was reading had a quick quip.
I need about 30 people to hit that subscribe button. We're almost at our quota for today. I need 30 people to hit that subscribe button. We're almost at our quota for today. Thank you.
And I hope this is correct, but it stands to reason. There are people that file for it and then sell the cards. They sell the cards for cash because they're below the line so they can qualify to get the card, but they're able to go to Costco and other places and get the food for themselves. That make sense? Mm-hmm. So then they sell the card. So guess what? It is sort of like universal basic income. The same thing they did with Social Security. They kept expanding Social Security. Oh, you're 11 years old and someone passed away. You can have the Social Security benefits even though you weren't due to get that for 50 years. And so
what you're talking about is Hawaii has a hotline. That's 1-866-264-2925 that you call. This is what they reported this year. Hawaii's Department of Human Services issued a fraud alert on May 22nd, 2024. You're so right.
That's
what about this. People taking advantage of EBT. And you know what ends up happening? They were issued a payment error rate on Hawaii SNAP program. The state was fined almost $11 million by the federal government because its error rate, overpayment and underpayments for SNAP jumped 21% in 22-23.
Well, there you go. People that really need it aren't getting it. And the state's doesn't have a chief compliance officer apparently. And then the government's got to come down and fine one of the 50 children in these United States.
Yeah. So Adam, your thoughts on
this? Why is this such a big deal? Meaning, like, I just sent Rob a thing over here. Let me actually use a little bit more of a Brooklyn accent over here. Well, we can't let people go hungry. But what people are we talking about here? Because I saw this stat over here. trying to do my Brooklyn accent, Rob, if you could show this, the types of people who are using the Snap.
Adam, just talk regular. Your
Okay,
regular
I'm sorry.
Jewish is perfect.
They're Afghani.
Your regular Jew is great. Don't make it crazier.
Vincent, I'm trying to
go ahead. Just go. I want to hear the story.
Look at these people. Where are they coming from? They're definitely not my people. They're Afghani. They're Somali. They're Iraqi. They're Haitians. I love the Haitians. They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. But are these people not American?
Who are you?
Are these people not supposed to be here? Is this what's going on? Why are they getting the cat? One of my buddies right now is in the middle of texting me. He's an American. I'm not going to use his name, but he's like, bro, they're going to cut me out of Snap. I said, why the hell are you on Snap?
Yeah.
You've been in this country. You're born and raised in America.
Yeah. What is
You're a father with 2 kids. Why are you even on? Why are so many people on Snap? Have you ever been on Snap?
Because he can't. No,
AKA
because he
food stamps?
can't. No, because he
You know
can't.
what? Snap is
If
food
he's in
stamps. Hawaii,
someone's going to call.
How
How
do
do they change the name to make it sound cool? Oh, Snap.
Oh,
It's food stamps.
It's food stamps.
Food
By the way, have you ever been on it?
Never.
PBD, have you ever collected food stamps?
Food stamps, yes.
You have. Why did you collect it?
19. I did not. My mother did. I was
Your mother
13 years old.
How long did she collect it for?
I couldn't even tell you.
Okay. My first job, I worked for 1 year, then I got laid off, and they gave me unemployment, they gave me food stamps. It lasts for 6 months. 6 months.
Yeah.
You should be, if you're a working and able-bodied person, you should be able to get a job 6 months later. We've all heard the stories of the welfare queen, just having kids and getting food stamps, and you get married to the government, you never need a man, you never have to work, the government pays for you. How long is that sustainable? People talk about the entitlement programs, there's Social Security, Medicaid. Those are people a lot of times that can't work. You're old, you're sick. These are for able-bodied people just having kids.
So the point
so my question is, why are so many people on this?
Adam,
how long are they on it for?
Adam, because think about it. He said 40 million, Patty.
Can I get, there's about 98 people in the building. Please hit the subscribe button, you guys. I need 30 people to hit the subscribe button. We're almost at the quota for today. If you're new, press. If you've been here before, press 5. Thanks for being here, everyone. Be kind in the comments. Be kind in the comments. I will time you out.
The number is 41 to 42 million. That's 1 out of 8 Americans are on food stamps. Okay, and that's exactly what the left wants. They want you dependent on the government. Okay, they don't want strong, independent citizens. They want voters who rely on freaking government checks. Because guess what, Adam? That's how they held on to power, bro. When your food, your rent, your healthcare all comes.
Don't be rude in my comments. Talking about imagine subscribing to this channel. Go on your own channel and talk your ish. People are weird Saturday mornings. Go hug yourself. Don't be in people's comments being rude. Didn't your mama teach you better? Didn't your wife teach you better? Didn't your girlfriend teach you better? Don't be in people's comments being rude and disrespectful. Go hug yourself.
The same people ask you for the vote. Your freedom's already gone, bro. And by the way, and then think about it. During the Biden administration,
Rob, while he's doing a thing, can you just pull up who's eligible for food stamps and what are the qualifications with the time?
During the Biden administration, Democrat, remember they were like.
The funny thing, you're in my comments. Go run your page. Do you have a page? Go run your page. Weirdos.
Asking for voter ID is racist. Who are they pandering to? And then Gavin Newsom has made it illegal.
Yeah, those people are mad. Talking weird first thing on a Saturday morning. I don't have to be here doing a video, but I am. But you're in my comments typing. So who's the one? I have a page. What do you have? Comments. Huh.
Ask for identification in California. Okay, they flood the country with the illegals, and those are their voters. And here's the truth, Pat, and I love that you said it in the beginning. If you're an able-bodied American citizen and you choose not to work, but you're living off the government, you shouldn't be able to vote.
I agree.
Do you feel me?
I agree. By the way, check this out. So here's a guy, World Star just...
Good morning, good morning. Press 3 if you knew where you're watching from. Press 3 if you knew where you're watching from. Press 5 you've been here before, where you're watching from. And this is one of my favorite podcasts. Be kind in the comments or exit.
Posted this 19 hours ago. By the way, a lot of foul language, so brace for impact. If you got your kids around, earmuffs, kids. I just step away from this. But this guy is talking about folks who are getting food stamps. Go ahead and play the clip, Rob.
Like the video, like the video. There's about 89 in the building. If you did not hit subscribe, please hit subscribe. Good morning, good morning. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being here. Good morning, good morning.
Talking about folks who are getting food stamps. Go ahead and play the clip, Rob.
Motherfuckers thinking it, but they ain't gonna say it. Listen here, I don't give a fuck about y'all losing y'all food stamps. I'm 25 with no motherfucking kids. I get up at 6 o'clock and go to work.
Yeah, I don't do the cursing thing, so I'm gonna fast forward.
Kamala's horrible. Exactly. I'm gonna go to a little bit more, but obviously a part of that on what the point is. I was in the military, okay, and I remember when I was in the military, what would happen on a Monday morning formation? They would come out and they would say the following: if your last 4 years Social Security ends with a 3, step to the front. And you're like, gosh, here we go. You would step to the front.
Good morning.
And then they would say, Johnson. Yours also ends with a 3. Oh, come on, Sarge. Step to the front. Step to the front. Okay. All right, follow us. Then you go to the bathroom, and you have to pee. And I don't know what they would do. Their head was like right here watching everything to make sure there was no...
like adding like bleach or something.
Bleach. Let me take a look. They would take a look, and you're peeing kind of like how he's doing. And then you would hand your business. You would hand your business And then afterwards, they would come back and say,
Good morning. Thanks for telling me. I was stepping back from the mic. Yes, if you're here, there's about 126 in the building. If I can get 50 people to hit the subscribe button, I'll meet the quota for today. So please hit the subscribe button. There's about 133 now in the building. Please hit subscribe. We're trying to hit 50K by next month. So please subscribe and thank you.
you tested positive for weed, okay? You're getting demoted from an E4 to an E1. Oh, come on. Yep. And you got to do Article 15. All right. And you go away. I come out, I'm talking to one of my friends. I said, this guy's a hardcore liberal at the time. I said, I believe anybody who gets anything for free, welfare, food stamps, unemployment, anything, drug tested at any time if we want to make sure you're living a straight up life, any short-term period that you get, that's not fair. That's invading people's privacy. Wait a minute. You're truly invading people's privacy and you're getting money from the people that are working to give you the benefit. No, we're not doing this. So the point is, Obama back in the days when he was president, I think unemployment at one point, Rob, can you verify this? Under Obama, unemployment at one point went all the way up to 24 months. 24 months. Just check to see if this is accurate. Was that his? Yeah, there you go. During the presidency, there were 24 consecutive months of jobs, but there was at one point that unemployment. Unemployment. Yeah. So I just asked right now, Rob. I asked if unemployment was up to 24 months, and they would pay unemployment out to 24 months. That's a long time. That's what it was. But this was during the Great Recession. I understand that, but it was a massive. Like guys could extend. 2 years.
That's a long time. Unemployment was that long back then? That's a long time. Please hit subscribe. There's about 25 people in the building. If half of those people hit subscribe, it'll be a great day for me. Please hit subscribe and thank you. That's a long time.
All of a sudden they cut, and once they cut, everybody started looking for a job. Yeah. So what happens if all of a sudden you cut this? And guess what? Go look for a job. Yeah. This wasn't created for you to just stay on it. So anyways, we're gonna see what's gonna be happening with this.
And then you agree with them not, like, I think if you can get a job and you're not, and you're just getting money from the government, you're not gonna vote. It's called a free and fair election. If you're buying their vote. Stay on the. We're going to keep you money. You shouldn't be able to stop
people from voting. But I see what you're saying.
I think that there needs to be some accountability. If you're just sucking off the teeth of big government.
But wait a minute. Let me ask you for what he's saying. Okay. If other taxpayers who are working hard are paying for you, you're voting to make a decision on behalf of who? Other people that are funding you. There is no logic there. Yep. You don't own Apple. You're not a shareholder. You don't get to say anything about Apple. Well, how are you?
You're a shareholder of America because you're a citizen.
Define that. Define what that is.
Citizen of America. Are you contributing? Are you paying taxes? You're sitting on your couch having babies. Listen, there's half of people in America I don't think should have a vote whatsoever, but they have a vote. We can't dismantle the voting system if you're a legal citizen.
The point is, logically, yes, in any company, okay, in any organization, whoever carries their little red wagon more than others gets a bigger vote. Yep. If you're sitting there, we ran a country, that's the only way we would ever do it. If you don't, you don't. It's that simple. But obviously right now, the more and more they're going to, people are upset because, SNAP is teaching people how to build healthy food. Really? Why are they 60 pounds heavier then? Tell me how healthy. You think they're following if they were following directions, they would go get a job right now. What do you mean, any of the other stuff that they're talking about? You know what is scary to most people? Planning. Most people are afraid of planning. Most people are afraid of sitting there and saying, oh my God, you want me to plan for next year? But you know who's not scared of planning? I want to introduce you to this guy who was looking for a business plan to fall out of the sky for him. And it didn't happen. But he made a decision to put on his calendar on December 12th to spend an entire day with somebody. Go ahead and play this clip. Wow. Watch this fellow here. Good-looking guy, minding his own business. Yeah. The best-looking guy. Hey, Vinny.
What's up, Pat?
What are you doing?
Waiting.
Waiting for what?
Business plan.
They're silly. They're doing a commercial. I'm not going to promote their commercial. Like the video. Fair use reaction clip. Like the video as you guys come in. Different people have different opinions about what's... Different people have different opinions about what's going on. Like the video as you guys come in. Fair use reaction clip. Let's continue. Like the video. There's about 176 in the building. If 76 people, please hit subscribe. I will meet my quota for today.
Well, we know this now.
If 78 people hit the like button, the subscribe button, I'll meet my quota for today. Please hit subscribe.
Now, Michael Chanel, MSNBC congressional reporter, and Michelle Norris, MSNBC senior contributing editor. Michelle, I want to start with you because we have these two judges that say, get this money out, right? What we know about this contingency is that there isn't enough money to give everyone who is supposed to get it all of their benefits. So there will be people in this country that wake up this morning expecting, because this is how people plan for their lives, expecting to have money to be able to pay for food for their children, for themselves, and at the end of the month where they already are stretching every dollar that they have. Talk about the kind of yo-yo effect, the uncertainty that those folks are living in and what that does to them.
Okay, so yesterday was Halloween. So families that rely on SNAP had to already dig a little bit deeper to buy that Halloween costume, to buy the candy. And now at the first of the month, that's normally when you do your biggest shopping if you're on SNAP, right? Because that's, you try to load up, because if things get tight later in the month, you try to make sure that you have a few extra cans of this or that. Even if the states come through, because you've got this interesting juxtaposition that a number of states are actually figuring out how to tap into emergency contingency funding there, right? And even if they come through and they provide some sort of contingency funding, there is a lingering effect here. And as you noted, this affects Republicans and Democrats. Hunger knows no boundaries. And people will remember, if you've ever experienced food insecurity, even when you satiate the hunger, the insecurity, the panic that you felt, not being able to know where your next meal is coming from, not being able to know if you're going to be able to feed your children, that is something that lingers. And when you've got this perfect storm of food insecurity, healthcare costs rising, and then Head Start being snatched from people who rely on that, this is a problem that the Republicans are going to have to deal with. And I think that that's why you're starting to see the break in the ranks and these, calls that have now been, we've learned about this. They're getting that messages, and they're not here in Washington. They're back at home, so they're seeing this firsthand. And this is going to be something that will affect the Republican Party. And the Democrats will see some blowback from this also. But because you also have this juxtaposition of Trump saying that he can't figure out, whether we should follow the judge's ruling or not, and at the same time talking about his big marble bathroom. Right. So we've got this 18-carat confusion, that's going on where he can't figure out how to fund this, but at the same time, he's talking about building a ballroom, he's renovating his bathroom. And so it just, the confusion around this doesn't make sense.
Michael, on the point of the panic of food insecurity that Michelle was just talking about, I'm going to play some sound of SNAP recipients in Florida and New York and what they have to say about what they're going to be going through. Watch this.
It's so easy to tell on Poshmark. You just pick out your item, snap a couple.
Like the video, fair use reaction clip. Let's go to a different clip then. Like the video as you guys come in.
To know about it or not, food assistance in the United States is now about to expire tonight because of a government shutdown. And while this is not the first time we've heard parties blame each other for the shutdown, and this has happened before. Donald Trump is not uniquely unprecedented in presiding over one. It is a fact that the Republicans control the White House and Congress. It's also a fact that Donald Trump promised above all else last year when he was campaigning to improve people's daily lives, prices, groceries, food, basic stuff. And maybe he was effective on the messaging, but it is now also a fact that he is failing on delivering the results. And what does failure look like? Remember, there are still rules in this country. There's still some emergency mechanisms. When we say there's a government shutdown, it affects a lot of people, but it doesn't mean the federal government stops doing anything. And the courts are still open, of course, which brings us to the news late tonight. A federal judge in Rhode Island ordering President Trump to go forward and release the funds which are available for food assistance next month. So a November's worth of funding for what they call SNAP. Because the judge says that's necessary and available, the funds exist, and Trump, for some reason, didn't see people going hungry as an emergency enough reason to free up those funds. Now, here's exactly what the judge said in the ruling. There's no doubt that the $6 billion in contingency funds are appropriated funds that are, without a doubt, necessary to carry out the program's operation. Again, as I mentioned, some things get paused in the shutdown, but here the money's available, and hungry children are not the first thing that, under law, the Congress wanted to be sacrificed, even when there is a shutdown of part of the government. Another judge in Boston found the administration's suspension of those benefits is probably unlawful. They said likely unlawful. They are still weighing a final ruling over there. Now, this matters to 40 million Americans. Food pantries are seeing huge demand. We are here on a holiday evening. Republicans control the Congress and the White House. And there are many ways to respond to this. For example, you could say, this is bad, but we need to reopen the government. Or, this is regrettable. Let's all come back to Washington and try to fix it. But that's not exactly the main response we're hearing. Again, we just do the news. We'll just tell you what they're saying, right? A House Republican said the people on food assistance who haven't pre-saved groceries are basically smoking crack, and they should stop. ... JD Vance.
We're almost at the quota for today. Please, 30 people hit subscribe and thank you. 30 people hit subscribe and thank you.
Had this to say. We're going to find out the hard way with SNAP benefits. The American people are already suffering, and the suffering is going to get a lot worse.
Suffering's going to get worse, he says. 24 million Americans are also looking at what could be higher healthcare prices because Obamacare's marketplace reopens tomorrow. Premiums could more than double going through next year. That's on average. And the reason is government policy. Republicans won, and they are exercising their power to cut the funds that subsidize that. So that's the direct result. Now, when you ask the public, how's this going right now? People do not like the shutdown. Then nobody likes higher healthcare prices. You don't really need a poll for that. But the most recent polling shows more people are blaming Trump and the Republicans for this shutdown right now as opposed to the Democrats. And I can tell you again, calling it straight, we've seen a lot of shutdowns where there is blame to go around. But this time, you do have one-party control of Congress and The White House, Democrats conditioned. The main thing they wanted was to keep those healthcare costs affordable, which also is pretty popular. Nationwide, we're seeing the reaction.
We're about to lose our food stamps. Mind you, we both work.
My son won't have his milk, and we won't have food.
I did everything right. Everything right. I was in the Army.
I'll go without eating or anything as long as my kids eat.
Over 4 million people are going to lose their health care through the marketplace.
There's 4 of y'all. It's not feasible. We don't know how long this is going to last.
Some of the real people affected, the real voices out in real America tonight. It is a holiday. We're going into the weekend, but a lot of people are not able to enjoy it carefree because of the failure of this president and this Congress to keep the government open. I want to bring in Juanita Tolliver, Democratic strategist, author, host of the Archival podcast. Welcome, Juanita. Happy Halloween. You see there a kind of Republican anger or even threat. It's going to get worse is sort of their messaging. And I understand that in shutdowns, the blame can go around. I mean, so many things are unusual in the Trump era. This actually isn't. We've seen this before. But there doesn't seem to be any great empathy or concern about fixing it against that polling. How does this all play out in your view?
My name is Richard Orengo. I'm the country director for IRC.
Like the video, like the video. There's about 179 in the building. If you already hit subscribe, thank you. If you did not hit subscribe, please hit subscribe. We're 20 away from meeting the quota for today. We're 20 away from meeting the quota. So if I get 20 people to please hit that subscribe and thank you. I like meeting my quotas. Let's get the likes up as well. 20 people hit the subscribe and thank you. Thanks for watching. If you already hit like, thank you. You already hit subscribe, thank you. 20 people away. Please hit the subscribe button. Let's continue. Fair use ration clip.
It's been clear that this contingency fund was earmarked by the USDA before the shutdown began as a resource to continue to provide SNAP benefits during the shutdown. That $6 billion was there. I appreciate the judge in Rhode Island saying the Trump administration made an erroneous decision to not use those funds to continue to supply SNAP. And calling that out emphasizes that this crisis is effectively manufactured by Trump and Republicans' decisions to not proactively engage and use those emergency resources that were already earmarked by the USDA. I think emphasizing that for the people, especially the people that you just highlighted, emphasizing the very real impact this means for them missing meals, for their children not to have the milk that they need. It highlights the human face and impact of the 42 million people that will stand to be hurt at a moment when the losses feel compounded, Ari, because people are already struggling to pay for their groceries each month. People are already turning to credit cards more. I think back in March, it was announced that even collaborations like buy now, pay later between Klarna and DoorDash were introduced because access to food has long been an issue for people to be able to pay from their accounts regularly.
Be careful with using those credit cards if you can. Be careful using those credit cards if you can. Avoid it if you can, but if you can't, because of course the interest, and then it's almost like you get caught up, but then you got to pay the credit card. So do whatever you can to survive, but be careful with those credit cards.
And so this response to SNAP with JD Vance saying
and the interest rate.
Oh, that pain I don't think can be understated at all, because it's not something that food banks can just backfill. They cannot meet the response of the need that's going to be presented when these benefits might not be there on cards as people are typically expecting every single month at the beginning of the month.
Yeah, and that makes sense. We're at it into November. We've got, of course, Thanksgiving, the largest travel day of the year next month. But air travel has been taking a hit under the same shutdown effects. Airports have grounded flights, shutdowns, air traffic control safety issues, staffing shortages. Workers want a deal to reopen the government, and they want to be fairly paid.
Air traffic controllers worked over 120 hours now with no pay.
I'm a real person, and this is very, very, very difficult.
You know, it's effective today. Every air traffic controller across the country wakes up to a paycheck that says $0.00.
Our elected officials need to come together. They need to find a way.
And that's the one thing people have to realize too. Groceries have gone up. Some families spend $300 for groceries, $400 for groceries, $500 for groceries. Groceries have gone up. And if you're spending $500 for groceries, that's $1,000 for those 2 months. Hello. Groceries are very expensive. I've gone shopping and I got like 10 to 20 things and it was like $100 almost. So groceries have gone up. People are going to have to make spaghetti. They're going to have to make pasta. You can go get a roasted chicken, cut that sucker up and do whatever you got to do. So there's ways. Get some rice, get some beans, make a nacho. You can make your own nacho. That feeds a family. You can definitely make lasagna. That feeds the family. And thank goodness gas has gone down. I have noticed that. Like the video, like the video. You guys were 15 people away from hitting the quota for subscribe. Please hit subscribe and thank you. Please hit subscribe and thank you. 15 people away. So there's about 136 in the building. If half those people hit subscribe, can I get 50 people to hit subscribe? We're 15 people away. Please hit subscribe and thank you.
That feeling when you want to buy a new ride?
Let's let the commercial go past. So yeah, things have gone up. If people have children, kids go out of clothes, the holidays are coming, Thanksgiving is coming. Yeah, I love a good nacho. There's a local place, they make the best nacho. It's huge. Ooh, I love a good nacho. Ooh, I love a good nacho. And great lasagna. Ooh, I can cook. But sometimes I don't feel like it. But yeah, I can cook. I'm a good cook. They love when I cook. And you guys can make some fish. You guys can make some salmon. You can bulk up. Make like 6 things of salmon. Make sure the salmon's a big piece. Make some rice. Make some corn. Make some green beans. Make 6 pieces, and then you just make meals for the week. That's what people are going to have to do to get past. You know what I mean?
On those people to work for nothing and keep us safe while we have our fingers crossed. Is this any way to run the government?
Absolutely not, Ari. And what I recall from the 2018 government shutdown under Donald Trump is that it was air traffic controllers and airline employees banding.
You can make some chicken and spaghetti. You can make some fish and spaghetti. Make a big pot. Get 5 pieces of fish. Make some chicken and make some fish. And get your greens and your corn. So there's ways to, do whatever you got to do to feed your family. A thing of chicken is probably what, $10? You know what I mean? $10. Two big pieces of fish is about $20. So you guys can make it. Just do whatever you can to get a big thing of chicken, get some fish for $15-$20. Sometimes it costs me 14 for the pieces I want, and then just bulk up. Yes, there's ways to save money. And then don't forget your rice is filling. Get some nachos. Go get some chips. Go get some cheese. Go get some meat. You could have a chicken nacho. You could have uh, a beef nacho. There's ways. There's ways to stretch it, and maybe cook for the 2 days. So that way it's like, oh, I'm tired of that. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Together to demand their pay that stop that shutdown. And so I'm anticipating what it's going to look like in airports. And I'm not even sure if it'll have to wait until Thanksgiving.
Okay, you guys, we're 10 people away. Please hit subscribe. We're almost there. We're 10 people away now. Please hit subscribe. So if families are struggling, my heart goes out to you. Families want to keep a roof over their head. They still have to pay rent. They still have to pay the light bill. They still have to pay the gas bill. They still have to put gas in their car to get to and from work. So do whatever you can until this gets figured out.
Another 25, 26 days from now for them to start to take that action. There have been more reports of increased call-outs. There have been more reports of people not coming on shifts. And they have good reason to not show up when they're not getting paid. And so I know that Donald Trump has spent the first part of this year really working to denigrate the faceless individuals who run operations within the government, including these air traffic controllers. And I'm glad that they're speaking out.
You can get some eggs and some bacon. Y'all can have breakfast. And sometimes I made a breakfast in the middle of the day. I just had a taste for some eggs and sausage and some grits. Or you could do eggs and bacon and grits. Yes, get to it. Get back in the kitchen. Get 2 things of eggs. Because I went through those. I had a carton. I went through those eggs and, very quickly. So it's better to just get 2 things of eggs. 2 cartons of eggs. And some bacon or sausage. Get some toast. Have some toast. I'm getting hungry, y'all.
Making it clear that they're real people. Making it clear that they too have bills to pay. That their services will not be rendered indefinitely for free. And so I'm looking to see how they organize like they did in 2018.
And people talk a lot of trash about the government or the DMV or this or that. I don't know many people who say, you know what, we don't need anybody doing airplane safety. We don't need anybody checking on it. Let's just fly blind, literally. I want to show you something, Juanita, about where the buck stops. Because I've mentioned there's a debate here in the shutdown, and that happens. But whether you put it all on the opposition party or the majority party.
We're almost there, you guys. 10 people to hit subscribe. 10 people to hit subscribe. We're almost there. We got 131 in the building. If you already hit subscribe, thank you. I like meeting my goals for the day. If you already hit subscribe, thank you. If you already hit like, thank you. If you didn't hit subscribe, please subscribe. We're trying to meet this quota for today. 10 more people to hit the subscribe button, and thank you.
Or the White House.
And let me know in the comments what you guys are eating. How are you cutting back? You can go to like a Myers, and they sometimes have a taco kit. So what are you guys eating too? Yes, double tap that screen. What are you guys eating for the weekend, for Saturday, Sunday?
Here's what Donald Trump said the shutdowns always boiled down to back before he was in office. Take a look.
If there is a shutdown, I think it would be a tremendously negative mark on the President of the United States. He's the one that has to get people together. I would get everybody together, and we'd have a budget. And
they've all gotten together.
You don't have.
Did y'all know he said that in an interview, but now he's the president?
If there is a shutdown, I think it would be a tremendously negative mark on the President of the United States. He's the one that has to get people together. I would get everybody together, and we'd have a budget. And
they've all gotten together.
Well, that's because they don't have the right leader. You don't have the right leader. This is the President of the United States has to get this done.
So that's what he said a few days ago. I mean, in our interview years ago. But then here we are struggling. People are struggling. Somebody knows somebody that's struggling. So let's hear what the judge's decision is. And some people may not get things added to their card this weekend. Some people may get it added to their card maybe next week.
Boston federal judge, he has issued a temporary restraining order. He didn't hold back against the Trump administration to force them to make sure that 44 million of the most underprivileged, disadvantaged Americans, babies, children, the poor, the elderly, the disabled, don't starve to death, aren't cut off from their food stamp and nutrition supplements and payments. $6 billion at risk in this program that Congress wanted it paid. One judge in Boston came up with a way to sort of encourage the Trump administration to make the payment on Monday. Forget that. Judge McConnell said, you're going to do the payments. And what happens when there's two different cases brought by two different...
Yeah, I don't know if things were added to people's cards by yesterday and this morning. I think they were talking about the judge still has to speak with them, and things may not be added until Monday, Tuesday. Some are saying they're hoping that it's added to their cards by today or last night. But I don't know. I think the judge is wanting them to make a decision by Monday, Tuesday. That's what I was hearing. But different people are saying hopefully things were added to people's cards by today.
Sets of plaintiffs with two different orders. How does that all get reconciled? I'm going to do it for you here on Saturday on Legal AF. I'm Michael Popok. Take a minute and hit the free subscribe button as we do a TED Talk meets a law school class. Just yesterday, I gave you a full report about the written order of Judge Talwani. Judge Talwani, an Obama appointee, who ruled after an evidentiary hearing as follows. She said, I'm going to force the Trump administration to reevaluate its position by Monday. I'm telling you that by having
told you by Monday.
$6 billion in a rainy day contingency fund, that's enough to fund the program. You don't need the full $8 billion for November. So with the partial payment, and go search for other payments, like under Section 32, there's customs receipts that come in from the import-export of goods. And different types of receipts. Go come up with the $8 billion. I'll give you until Monday. I'm going to hold a motion for temporary restraining order brought by the 23 Democratic states Attorney General in abeyance. That was Judge Talwani. I think I know why she did it that way, because she's worried about falling into the mouth of the United States Supreme Court when it comes to funding orders. But Judge McConnell, and we've talked about Judge McConnell before. He was the judge that issued one of the first cases or orders about birthright citizenship, that Donald Trump could not remove birthright citizenship from the 14th Amendment by executive order. So, he's got some brass ones. He said, no, you have, in his hearing today, yesterday, he said, you, the government, the Department of Agriculture, you have used payments during shutdowns before from contingency funds to pay for the program. You have to do it again here. And I'm going to order you to do it. Now, there's a reason I think these two decisions came out that'll ultimately lead to the same conclusion and an appeal, but why they're different. Here's my theory about Judge Talwani. Judge Talwani is in Boston. One of her neighboring judges is Judge Young. Judge Young got blasted as a senior status judge by the United States Supreme Court, MAGA 6, because he issued an order to force funding that Donald Trump had cut And that drove MAGA crazy on the Supreme Court. And they chastised him. And I think that rubbed off on Judge Talwani. Grant the temporary restraining order without granting it. She put it on ice. She put it on hold. But she said, on Monday, I want to see a plan, agency action plan. She's focused on compelling agency action. So it's not seen as an order about funding that could fall into the trap of the United States Supreme Court. And so she said, come back to me Monday with an agency plan. Now, look, the Secretary Rollins of the Agriculture Department, she already said, I don't know if I'm going to comply with any of these federal orders. We'll have to look at it. I think we have our answer before Monday. Judge McConnell held a hearing the following day, on Friday. And he had in front of him not the 23 blue states. He had cities and public interest groups like Democracy Forward. Now, fortunately, we have people who are in the trenches from both of these organizations that are going to be able to brief.
Yes, thanks, Pat, for saying like and share. Like and share. We're 10 people away. Please hit subscribe. 10 people away. Please hit subscribe. We're trying to hit 50K by next month. Please hit subscribe. 10 people, please hit subscribe, and thank you. We're almost at our quota. Let's continue. Fair use, ration clip.
Us here. In that case, he went a different way because he's not bound by what Judge Talwani does. Nobody's bound by a fellow district judge, especially one from a different state. You're only bound by the highest court of your district, which in the Rhode Island, Massachusetts analysis would be the First Circuit or the United States Supreme Court. So he made his own ruling. His ruling was, I'm blasting you with the injunction. I'll get my hands on the injunction. I'll update you during the course of the day about what it says. But we know what it says because he effectively ruled from the bench, subject to his written order. Now, he doesn't seem to be so concerned about the Supreme Court and its funding precedent from over the spring and the summer. Now, let me show you, we had the pleasure of having an interview with Rob Bonta, who's one of the attorney generals and the one from California leading the charge who helped obtain this win in the Talwani court. I want to show you his interview. And then later today, I'm going to have an interview that was done by my podcast partner, Ben Mysalis, of Sky Perryman. You know Sky Perryman. We have a regular playlist here for Democracy Forward. She was involved with the Rhode Island case, and I think you're going to find her interview fascinating as well. But for now, I want to give you in its entirety the interview that I did with Rob Bonta on the day the SNAP lawsuit was filed, which now we have the ruling. They filed this emergency complaint, temporary restraining order. We got the judge. We got the hearing this week. And for our audience, we've got Attorney General Rob Bonta of California to talk about the new filing. Welcome, Attorney General Bonta.
An honor to be with you once again, Michael. Thanks.
Always. As people may know, we were together and briefing the audience on No King's Day as Donald Trump threatened or did shoot live ordnance over the 5 when you and I were in San Diego, right near Camp Pendleton. And you talked then so eloquently about the 3 C's, and we've stolen it from you, and we've repeated it frequently on the Minus Bench Network and Legal AF of courts, crowds, and courage. And you've got it all here. Talk to our audience, brief them about what is the SNAP program, why did you spring into action, and then we'll talk about the logistics of the case that's been filed in Massachusetts with a hearing this coming.
Hello, everyone say hello to Paris. She's my one and only mod. She's my one and only mod. Hello, Paris. Good morning. Good morning. Hey. Thank you. I just pinned it.
Thursday.
Like the video. Can I get 10 more people to hit subscribe? We're almost at our quota for today. 10 more people to hit subscribe. We're almost at our quota for today. I hope all is well.
Nutrition Assistance Program, also commonly known to and referred to as food stamps, is our federal food assistance program for folks who are hungry, who are in need. Some of our most vulnerable community members, our children, our seniors, our disabled, who rely on it. This is one of the great things the government does. It helps feed the hungry and provide a safety net of protection and health for those in need. And Trump unlawfully decided to withhold the SNAP funding during.
Sometimes commercials pop up, but we got past the commercial. Like the video, fair use, reaction clip.
The government shutdown for the month of November. It's about $8 billion nationwide, $1.1 billion to California. It's about 41 million Americans who will be deprived of their food funding. 1.1 it's about 1.1 billion in California, and these are the folks who really need it. And so I just want to say that I've always believed that society should be judged on how they treat the most vulnerable. And on that score, Trump gets an F. He is going out of his way to hurt and harm the most vulnerable in our country for a political purpose, to use it as a political bludgeon, a cudgel, to blame the Democrats, to put up on the website that the Senate Democrats created this problem. He created this problem. The law requires him to pay the funding when there is a contingency fund in the SNAP program, as there is here. We think there's about $5 to $6 billion in it. The law, the SNAP Act, and the SNAP statutory framework says that money shall be used. And
Good morning. Good morning. I hope all is well, Paris. I hope all is well.
Contingency funds, like reserve funds for any budget, are supposed to be for times just like this, emergencies, exigencies, times when you need the funding, and it's required to be spent. So instead of spending it, he's claiming that the quote well is dry, end quote, even though the money is there to be spent, $5 to $6 billion. And so we're demanding that that money be spent on the people who need it. And so we filed in the District of Massachusetts today. We also, at the same time, simultaneously applied for a temporary restraining order. We have a hearing in 2 days. We hope to get an immediate ruling.
Correct. Pat, I heard that that money that the judge is trying to release may only last for 3 weeks or so. I did hear that. We played that in our video yesterday. Like the video, like the video. Please hit subscribe. There's about 149 in the building. Please hit subscribe. We're trying to hit 50K by next month. Yes, I am hearing that if that money is released, it may only last for 3 weeks. Yes. So where will they pull money from? And hopefully the government's back open by then.
That will block the unlawful action and ensure that the SNAP funding flows. We have two claims based on the Administrative Procedures Act. One, that this action by the Trump administration withholding the funding in the contingency fund is contrary to law, and also that it's arbitrary and capricious in prior government shutdowns. The contingency fund.
Yeah, then what? Hopefully it's back open and they can agree on some stuff. Once they start messing with kids and different programs, that's when a lot of people are like, okay, come on, dude, you're demolishing a part of the White House, and now you're not focusing on people feeding themselves, and then some of people's premiums may be going up. There's a lot going on. Like the video, fair use reaction clip.
Was drawn on and was used to pay SNAP benefits to Americans in need. So we believe we have a strong case.
Yeah, well, your case is very strong. Let's just talk from arbitrary and capricious. Let's just talk about the ever evolving, morphing position of the U.S. Department of Agriculture. You've got a September 30th report, a lapse of funding plan, which is no longer up on the website for the USDA, been replaced with blame the Democrats for babies, children, and old people who will die effectively. But there was a lapse.
Okay, you guys. Well, I'm about to go have an amazing breakfast. Yes, one of our favorite places. They're only open to a certain time, so I definitely want to get to go. I want to get going so that way we can sit down, enjoy ourselves, and not rush. But yes, I'm about to go have an amazing breakfast with my boo, my bae, and I hope everyone has an amazing weekend. An amazing weekend. Yeah, it's interesting how certain places are only open to a certain time, and one of our other places that we like, they're only open to a certain time. So either we're going to do breakfast or we're going to do almost something for lunch. But we'll figure it out. But yes, yes. And then there's that travel time. So you guys have an amazing Saturday. I had to go live to stay within this algorithm. This video is probably going to get more views than most of my videos for the week. Thank goodness I went live today. Last week I didn't go live. I was just having a good old time. And the algorithm said, nope. We're gonna make sure you don't get the views you normally get. So I was like, dang. And when it does that, it makes us work harder. Some people only go live every other day. Some people go live 3 times a week. And that's it. For some of us that go live almost every day, that algorithm knows it. And even if I do my shorts at night, it still hits me pretty hard that I didn't go live Saturday or Sunday. So I'm going to enjoy the rest of my day, getting the look, got to do the face. The hair's already done and cute. But I thank everyone for being here. So let's do my disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teaching, scholarships, and research. Fair use is used permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. All comments are alleged, in our opinion, and for entertainment purposes only. Don't forget to turn your... Oh, clock's back. Oh, okay. Is that this weekend? I'll be so out of the circle and be listening to the news. But yes, Paris, thank you. And also, don't forget the storm in regards to, was it Jamaica? Jamaica. Yeah, in regards to Jamaica. Oh, it is this weekend. Okay, thanks for telling me that. A lot of my phones in my car, probably my car is the only one, A lot of my tablets and phones may automatically do that for me though. But yeah, thanks for telling me. It'll most likely be spring forward, fall back. Yep, you're right. Okay. So like the video, you guys, hit subscribe. Focus on healthy, safe relationships. Be around people that's loving, kind, and respectful. I appreciate you all for being here. I appreciate all the kind comments. Prayers go out for the people that are on stamps, that are concerned about their premiums health insurance going up. So there's a lot going on. Mm. Oh, yes. Their pancakes be good. And this is the other thing. The one place the pancakes are amazing. The other place, I don't know if it's the butter that the pancakes are amazing, or I don't know what it is. I like the other place, but he likes the other place. So we kind of switch off. I'm fair. I'm fair. But then there's a soul food restaurant, baby. That soul food is far. It is so good. The cornbread is amazing. But everybody knows through these times, some of these places aren't getting the business that they used to get. Like 3 months ago, it would be so packed that one time we waited like almost 15 minutes for our plate. But yeah, the breakfast places are amazing. The soul food place is amazing. I'm a foodie. Ooh, I'm a foodie. I love some good food, y'all. So I deserve a good meal and a good breakfast. So we will decide if it's going to be breakfast or if it's going to be lunch. So thanks for being here, everyone. Be blessed. Have a great day. Goodbye. Gotta go.